Hello, P-CCS. Today is Tuesday, November 10th. This is Nick Brannon, Executive Director of Communications and Marketing, and here is this week's LPT in 3 podcast. Thanks for listening. Let's dig into this week's news. Well, if you can believe it, Election Day was 1 week ago today. And there were some significant decisions to be made in terms of P-CCS on the ballot, and let's review the results and see how everything shook out. First and foremost, we want to thank our municipalities, Canton Township, the City of Plymouth, and Plymouth Township, for coming together to support the renewal of the Wayne RESA Enhancement Millage. As we talked about in previous podcasts, this enhancement millage has a direct impact on the student experience in our district. It provides additional revenue and resources for the district's general fund. And thanks to its passing in 2016, we've been able to do a number of things in the district to support students with this additional funding. This extension was a 6-year proposal which will continue the current millage, which was set to expire in the fall of 2022. We really want to thank our community because the passage of this once again shows a tremendous amount of confidence and trust in the way that we've used the enhancement millage money for the past few years. We certainly promised our community that we will continue to be fiscally responsible stewards of this enhancement millage money. We'll be transparent about what it's being used for, and we want to thank everyone for making sure that your voice was heard on this really important renewal. We know that there's a sacrifice to this, and while there was no tax increase to this renewal, there was in 2016, and it really means a lot to our district on behalf of our students that the community would come together with this level of support. There also were 4 school board seats up for decision during the election last Tuesday, 3 6-year terms and 1 partial term. We would like to congratulate our 2 incumbents who were re-elected, Anupam Chugh Sidhu and Patrick Kehoe. Trustee Kehoe was elected to a 6-year term, while Trustee Chugh Sidhu was elected to a partial term that will last 2 years. We also welcome 2 brand new members to the P-CCS Board of Education. Sean Wilson and Lauren Christensen were both elected to 6-year terms. We've asked so much of our Board of Education during this pandemic. On behalf of the community, they've had to make really difficult and challenging decisions, and we want to thank them for their dedication. And we want to thank our voters for once again, just like the enhancement millage, making sure that your voices were heard as part of this process. Well, in a school year where nothing's been that typical, we want to make sure to communicate to our elementary families changes to the schedule for next week. Next week, our teachers and families will engage in parent-teacher conferences. These will be held virtually, but it will have an impact on the schedule for the middle of next week. On Wednesday, November 18th and Thursday, November 19th, there will be no in-person learning for our elementary students. So on both of those days, our elementary students will log into Canvas and Zoom in the morning and will engage in remote learning throughout the morning. There will be no lessons in the afternoon on either day. So on the 18th and on the 19th, students will do work in the morning with no lessons in the afternoon. While parent-teacher conferences will look different this year than most years, we're very pleased that our educators and families will be able to do some collaboration and communicate together. As we know, learning's been a little bit different during this time, so it will be a great opportunity for communication and engagement between our teachers and our families. Help us out by letting people know. You could post this to social media or, tell your neighbors. Make sure that everybody knows that Wednesday and Thursday of next week will look a little bit different for our elementary students and families. And that'll do it for this week's news. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for your continued support of Plymouth Canton Community Schools, where all students learn, prepare, and thrive.